day 3 of our birds, bees, and dandelion seeds field trip. I am standing here with our goat herd. Our goats are named Tiarella, Pearl, Sunshine, and Rosie. We use them to eat plants we don't want, like poison ivy. Unfortunately, when you visit us, you can't come in here and pet the goats, but they do like me because I feed them. Sometimes the goats get seeds stuck in their fur. Animals are one way that seeds move. Why would a seed have to move? Well, if I were a tree and all of my hundreds of seeds dropped beneath my branches, they wouldn't all have enough room to grow. They also wouldn't have enough sunlight, air, or nutrients. So seeds have to move away from their parent plant in order to survive. There are 4 ways that seeds travel. You've already learned one. Do you remember it? One way seeds move is by animals. Some seeds have tiny hooks on them that catch on an animal's fur or even your socks. When the animal moves, the seed moves too. Have you ever seen a squirrel bury acorns and other nuts in the fall? Squirrels bury hundreds of nuts each fall. Do you think they remember where they buried each one? No, some of those nuts will grow into trees. What animal might eat these berries? A bird. We can't eat them because they're poisonous, but a bird would eat the berry and then the seed would pass through its digestive system and come out somewhere else. So animals are one way that seeds move. Now take a look at this cool milkweed seed. How do you think it moves? This is actually the seed, and right here is a fluffy parachute on the end. Watch what happens when I let it go. That seed moves by wind. Have you ever made a wish on a dandelion? Dandelion seeds move by wind too. Now check out this cool seed package. This is the flower head of a cattail plant. It's made up of thousands of tiny seeds attached to little parachutes. Look at all the cattails we're planting. Is this a seed? This is a pine cone. It's actually a house for a seed. Pine cones hang upside down from branches. When the wind blows, tiny holes in them open and seeds with little wings attached to them fly out and scatter. Here are 2 other seeds that have wings to help them fly in the wind. Now, check out this seed. Do you think this seed moves by wind? Let's see. Definitely not. This is a coconut seed, and it grows in tropical places, usually near the ocean. Coconuts are covered in tiny little fibers that help them float. A coconut can float for weeks and weeks in the ocean before it lands on a new island and grows a coconut tree. So far, we've learned 3 of the 4 ways that seeds travel. Let's see if you remember them. By animals, by wind, and by water. The last way is a little tricky to understand, and it's also a little tricky to say. It's called mechanical dispersion. Let's see if you can say those words after me. I'll say them, you repeat them. Mechanical dispersion. Very good. So these are plants that have seed pods. Pressure builds up inside the seed pod until it's so great that the whole seed pod bursts open and the seeds are flung out of it like cannonballs out of a cannon. Some of the seeds that move this way are jewelweed, and you can see the little seed pod is up right here. Let's see if I can get it to pop. Oh, this one wasn't quite ready, but when it's ready, the seeds will pop out. Witch hazel and impatiens also move by mechanical dispersion. We're going to name those 4 ways one more time, and then we have an experiment to do. So everyone, seeds move by animals, wind, water, and what's that last one? Mechanical dispersion. Great job. Now we're going to do an experiment to see whether or not certain seeds float. We'll be visiting 5 arboretum trees to examine their seeds. This first tree is the sweet gum tree. It got its name because Native Americans used to chew the sap like chewing gum. Let's see if I can find the seed. Here's a nice sweet gum seed. Right now you need to get out your seed experiment lab sheet. Find sweet gum ball in the first column. The second column is for making your hypothesis. A hypothesis is an educated guess. So you're going to write yes if you think the sweet gum ball will float, and no if you don't think it will float. You can base your hypothesis on the appearance of the seed or on something you already know about it. So right now, write yes for it will float and no for it won't float in your second column. And now it's time to test your hypothesis. Going to put the seed in the water. It floats. So now we know that sweet gum balls do float, and that's one of the ways they move. It's time to head to our next tree now. Let's go! Right now, I am sitting under a black walnut tree. Black walnuts have an outer coat, but they also have an inner shell that's super hard to crack. If you can get inside to the nuts, though, they are delicious. Humans and animals enjoy them. Take a look at the section of your experiment sheet that says black walnut. What's your hypothesis? Will this seed float or not? Write down yes or no in the second column. And now let's test that hypothesis. It floats. Let's be sure that's not a fluke. We're going to try this one too. It bobs down at first, but it comes back up. All three of our black walnuts floated. Are you ready to go on to our next tree? Let's go. Right now, I'm standing by a milkweed plant. Milkweed plants are the only plants that monarch butterfly caterpillars eat. Let's take a look at a milkweed seed pod. Now, we already learned that milkweed seeds travel by wind because they have tiny parachutes attached to them. But can they also float? Take out your lab sheet and look at the second column by milkweed pod. Make your hypothesis. Write yes if you think this pod will float, and no if you don't. Are you ready for the results? First, we're going to place the entire pod in. Look, it floats. Now let's try putting in some of the individual seeds. Right now they're floating too. Now it's possible that they'll start to sink once they get soggy, but milkweed show us that some plants have more than one way that they can move. Right now, we are on to our next tree. Let's go. Right now, I'm standing under an American holly tree. Holly berries are poisonous to humans, but birds love to eat them. These berries are still green, which means they aren't ripe yet, and you can see they're pretty tiny. Do you think they're going to float? In your second column, write down yes if you think they will, and no if you don't. Okay, let's test your hypothesis. Will it float? Oh, the hollyberry does not float. So if you put no in your hypothesis column, you were correct. And now, let's go on to our next tree. Come on. Right now, I'm standing under a white oak tree. This is one of the oldest trees in the Arboretum. It's probably about 100 years old. White oak trees provide food and shelter for over 500 species of animals, in part because of these, acorns. Acorns are the seeds of the oak tree. Do you think this acorn is going to float? Take a look at your second column and make your hypothesis, yes or no. All right, let's see if you were right. I'm going to put it in the water. And believe it or not, it does float. So if you put yes in column 2, you got it right. If we waited a while, it might start to sink. But floating is definitely one of the ways that this seed moves. Now that we've finished our seed experiment, let's review the 4 ways that seeds travel. Hold up your fingers as we count together. They travel by wind, by water, by animals, and by mechanical dispersion. You and your teacher are going to design an imaginary seed. I will see you tomorrow for the 4th day of our field trip.